hand is raised to strike down a lady. How many things caused that killing hand to rise? A night of unfaithfulness? Years of boredom and growing contempt? The jeering and boasting of other men, the deceiving whispers of other men? Drunkenness? Rage? A demon storming in the mind?
You asked me, Lord Mazago, if I had touched your dead wife.
Did I, Lieutenant?
Yes. If I was sure that she was dead. As if seeing the wounds might not be enough. I should touch to be certain.
The appearance of Lady Mazago. Well...
It could deceive. You spoke of illusion, delusion.
I was not intoxicated.
But you don't suspect some kind of demonic illusion?
I was merely wishing for intoxication.
Some kind of sorcery, something uncanny.
Are you looking for evidence of madness, Lieutenant? His Majesty is convinced I'm mad. But this is no delusion. My wife's beauty was real. I have touched it.
When I asked you when you saw her last, you said many years ago.
Maybe time itself is an illusion. After all, the Buddha said...
I think it was a kind of metaphor. Over the years, perhaps, the woman you loved had become invisible to you. And you to her? Untouchable, perhaps.
Ah, Lieutenant. You and I may well come to understand each other.
No, Yukinari.
Shonagon.
No, we will not talk about our own situation or your cousin's empty house.
But what happened? What didn't happen? It torments me.
It is not uncommon. And we certainly won't discuss it here, a palace in mourning.
What then? The Empress? Inheritance?
No.
Again?
No. The death of Lady Mazago. Her murder.
Why should we talk about that?
Is Lord Mazago guilty?
He hasn't confessed. But then he hasn't denied it either. Interviews with him are like debates with a drunken scholar.
Do you think he did it?
I'm not sure. Not yet.
But you strongly suspect?
When the body was found, 2 policemen went to the Mazago home. They found the Lord kneeling in the garden, facing a wall. He was naked, and he was singing.
Singing?
An old peasant's love song, so one of my officers told me. No blood-stained clothes had been found. But only 10 yards away they found an axe. It had been thrown into bushes, no serious attempt to conceal it. The head of the axe...
Blood?
Yes. Is the Empress back in the palace? Her father's funeral was...
Last year, you investigated a conspiracy against Lord Korechika, Her Majesty's brother. An attempt to slander and undermine him. It involved retired Emperor Kazan and a highborn lady. The lady was Lady Mazago, was it not?
I never mentioned that name.
But sometimes when she was mentioned by others, I picked up hints. I was aware of silences.
Shonagon, any accomplices to this killing are likely to be sake, a marriage turned bitter, and more sake.
If there are still attempts to slander Lord Korechika, if he does not become Chancellor, then my Empress's position... I fear for her. Retired Emperor Kazan.
Don't you remember that meddling in the schemes of the highborn almost got me killed? And almost ruined you? Please, leave this to me.
Are you in a position to summon a retired emperor who is now a monk to an interview?
Could you do such a thing?
No, but I can put myself in a position to speak with him alone.
Lady Shonagon?
Imperial Kazan.
I would not disturb your meditation.
No, please. I must leave soon anyway.
Or do you sit in prayer?
Both prayer and meditation.
Of course. An accomplished lady, busy at several tasks at the same time. May I sit with you?
I would be honored, Imperial Kazan.
Here in the temple, you may address me as Brother Kazan.
I am honored indeed.
And this is indeed a time for both meditation and prayer. The death of a chancellor, it can create a vacuum into which a storm may rush.
Until Lord Korechika steps gracefully into that space.
It is rather a coincidence finding you here, Lady Shonagon.
Why is that, Brother Kazan?
Well, just a day or two ago, I was reading your words.
My words?
Some examples of those delightful lists you compile. But no, forgive me, I'm told you prefer the word compose. And you know, of course, they are now in circulation. They pass from hand to hand.
Yes, and some readers smile kindly, others laugh in derision.
While others learn them by heart, like me.
You, Imperial Brother Kazan.
Things that disturb when one awakes too early to rise. The rattle and jangle of an overladen ox cart. The baying laughter of a young man not yet abed. The barking of a dog, which should not be so close to the palace at all. The snoring of a neighbour. The beating of one's own heart. The fear of death.
I am astonished.
You should gather them all together. Compile a book of your compositions.
The Empress has suggested the same. But I am astonished that such trifles could find their way into the temple.
Oh, no, Shonagon. It was I who was compelled to find my way elsewhere. I retired long ago from imperial matters. My inner life now is for the Buddha. But this old outer carcass is called away sometimes to matters more mundane.
Affairs of state.
Often, yes. Some people believe that with age comes wisdom. The older I grow, the less sure I am of that.
Oh, no doubt you'll be asked to advise Lord Korechika when he becomes Chancellor, when he recovers from the grief at his father's death.
Do not grieve for our passing life. Look on it as you do the blossom of the cherry.
Yes, I hear young men quoting such lines often these days. If they are sufficiently melancholy, they must be sufficiently sensitive and fashionable. Some of them are remarkably young.
Can one be too young to learn that we all must become no more than the smoke of cremation, rising and dispersing?
There will be 2 rising columns tomorrow. Our Chancellor and Lady Mazago.
But the lady's fire will not be in the city.
No, in the village where she was born.
But she spent much of her life outside the city. She was a lady who loved to travel.
I believe she wrote long letters about what she discovered out there in the provinces, up in the hills, along rivers and coastlines.
And in the houses of all manner of people. I have seen some of those letters. They confirm what her travelling, her restlessness told us. She was eccentric and bold. How well did you know her, Lady Shonagon?
I was in company with her on only a few occasions. As you say, Brother Kazan, she was outside the city much of the time.
And who tomorrow will watch her smoke rise? A few peasants, merchants, a cousin or two?
Maybe a poet or two. Young, sensitive men who are not fashionable.
Yes, young poets were charmed by her. She had the most deeply inquiring gaze and a smile that defied all inquiry.
Imperial Brother Kazan, you could have been a poet yourself.
And written, Lady Shonagon, about the musicality of your voice. I've been listening to that voice and watching you for many years.
Watching me?
I watched you rise and wondered how far you would dare to rise.
I have risen in Her Majesty's love and trust. I can imagine no greater height.
Yes, that too. I have seen and understood. But imagination, Shonagon, it can be limitless. Our lives may be no more lasting than the blossom of the cherry, but we may savour the sweetness and spice while we are here. It is not forbidden.
This is a very small room, Lieutenant Yukinari.
There is your bedroom too, Lord Mazago.
Which is the size of my wife's cupboard for her second-best shoes. There is not a single window.
We try to make you comfortable, my lord.
The one servant who appears says not a word, leaves food and insipid drink, removes my chamber pot and is gone. No word, no glance.
I see little hope of change unless your lordship speaks more freely.
I am speaking freely now.
About your wife's murder. You know the worst that can happen is perpetual exile.
We could use our imaginations.
It's the truth we're after.
This tiny room, in imagination, can be a splendid, spacious, ornamented chamber. More than spacious enough to welcome many and all manner of guests. Do you see it, Lieutenant? Do you see the tapestries, the embroidered mats, the golden flasks and goblets, the panoramic window with a view of garden and river?
I will try to see, if it might lead to the truth.
Why are they here? These many guests, some of them look rather disreputable. Of course. Poets, lieutenants. Raggedy, drunken young poets, here to meet the same lady fine lords are here to see. Who can she be?
Lady Mazago.
Lady Mazago. Hostess to lovesick poets and fine lords together. Here's Lord Korechika, brother to our Empress and a future Chancellor. Such a noble lord, graceful and chivalrous. And not only chivalrous lords and raggedy poets, we have astrologers, students of plants and animals, those who chronicle the tales and superstitions of peasants, a hero who sailed to the far side of the world. We even have a retired emperor, now clad in monkish robes, Imperial Brother Kazan. And I too, lowly Mazago, I am here, among these exalted personages and a sprinkling of verse makers. Well, am I not entitled to be here?
You are the lady's husband.
Can you see us, Yukinari? Can you smell us?
Smell?
Can you smell our gathered humanity?
I don't understand.
Some peasants believe that there are certain dragons whose smell alone can kill. One whiff of those scales, that breath, and life is extinguished. But where is Lady Mazago? She's the reason we are gathered here, so where is she? Does she wait in the next room? No, only a few discarded shoes on the floor. Perhaps she's gone on her travels again. Oh, but no. Oh, look here. Out the great window, to the garden, to the river beyond. Somewhere there she lies, I imagine. And it's true. Her beautiful hair, wet with water and blood, her life extinguished. Killed by whom, Lieutenant? By what? There are no dragons, not anymore. But the smell of humanity, our stink, our reek, might not our very smell have the power to kill?
Thoughts in one's mind the night before a funeral. The remembered living walk and voice of the deceased. Footsteps receding. Fading words. Cherry blossom. Ashes and bones. The fear of death. A choice to be made by morning, which of 7 appropriate gowns to wear.